I welcome you to Integrated Theology. I am your host, Bishop Dr. Derek A. Reeves, and today we're going to continue on with Lecture 1, the Part 1, Part 2, the supplemental lectures. And again, there is so much to cover in integrated theology. You can spend a lifetime developing it, studying it, and coming to understand it. And so the third supplemental lecture to Lecture 1, Part 2, will be the Episteme Logos. Some say Episteme Logos. Now, when we talk about the episteme, we're talking about a thinker, or we're talking about thought. This is where we get epistemology. And so it is the ology of thinking. And so the episteme, or the episteme logos, is the thinker of the thought of thought, understanding and utilizing his wisdom concerning thought. And so he is the thinker that engages in eternal thought, thought that is never developed, thought that never began, but thought that is eternal, thought that is as infinite as his omniscience, because he does not think to come to know. He does not think to find a solution. His thought is perpetuated throughout eternity, and it has ever been settled in heaven. Therefore, the episteme logos is the settled omniscience and omnisophic capacity of God, his all-knowing and his all-pervasive wisdom. He is the thinker of thought that was never created, of thought that never came to be, of thought that has existed throughout eternity and shall exist, because he is the embodiment of his mind, of his thought, and of every aspect of who and what he is. And so the episteme, or the episteme, the thought that God thinks, the thought that God has ever known, the thought that God ever knows, but thought, and I should say thoughts, or we could say the thought in speaking of the conglomeration of God's thought as being the singularity of his omniscience. Therefore, everything he knows is what we could call the primary oneness of his mind, engaging in facts, how to utilize the facts, what the facts were, and these things have always been known. And so the episteme, or the episteme logos, is the information, the knowledge of the logos in his ever thinking of the thought of thought. He is the author of all thoughts. All thinking, all knowledge, all wisdom begins with him. Therefore, all knowledge and all wisdom, if it is true, will lead back to him, who is the founder of it, the guardian of it, and the consistent custodian who holds in reserve every thought that can be thought. He knows every knowledge that can be known. He even knows speculative knowledge. He knows false knowledge. And yet, he knows this simply because his knowledge, his thinking, has ever been in existence. I thank you for joining me. This has been Theological Integrative Theology, Lecture 1, Part 2, and I am your host, Bishop Dr. Derek A. Reeves. Until next time, God bless you and keep you.